All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome. My name is Coach Staci Ann, and you have joined my meetup group. So welcome. I hope that you find the benefit from this confidence and motivation building meetup group where I put together different events having to do with helping with confidence and motivation to help bring you as much success as possible in your life. So let's get started on tonight's topic. So tonight I wanted to talk about SMART goals, and specifically setting goals that you can follow and creating a vision for your future. And part of the notes that I had in the description for tonight's events was, if you were able to, if you wanted to start writing out some goals in advance, that might bring you, make the event more relevant for you if you can. If you didn't, that's okay too. I'm sure that you will, hopefully you will be inspired to do so after this event. So let me start out by asking, and I'm going to share a little presentation that I've put together for you guys here, is, why do we even need goals? Why is this important? Any thoughts on that? Anyone want to share? Feel free to shout that out. What do we need goals for? What are they good for? Why should we care? There's a lot of focus on goals. And one thing that I've noticed is there's not so much focus on goals when we're younger, it seems like. I mean, I know that, at least me personally, I don't feel like I ever heard a teacher talking to me about setting goals, or, it was more like, get your homework done, to have your planner. Did you did you do your homework? Did you write that down? Let's see. Oh, so Victoria's got something. I think there are more goals as kids. Do you think? What do you mean by that, Victoria? Could you expand on that at all?
It's interesting because I remember like when I was a kid, I would have goals like, for instance,
Cute.
I have to pass a test, or I have to do finish an essay, or let's say my mom put me in piano lessons, so I
Okay.
have to master, a piano piece,
Okay.
and then came college, and then we had goals in college. And then I feel that, I mean, the same types of goals, like um I mean, like same but different, like finishing an essay, um and the same type, but then as an adult, I felt like my life getting so empty because I had less and less goals, as an adult. I felt
Interesting.
that way. Yeah. I mean,
That's
just
interesting.
me. Yeah. And I heard it from my other friends who had graduated. They felt like they were telling me, gosh, after I graduated from college, I feel like a sense of emptiness, you know? And I never forget, one of my friends was saying, and this was like 30 years ago, she was saying, you know, um, uh, we're feeling empty because we don't really have a goal, and after we come from the school situation, you know, we don't have as many goals.
That Oh, and I love that you shared that, Victoria. Thank you so much, because that is so powerful. And I feel the same way. It's kind of like, and I think I didn't always think of them as even goals. It was more like, here's my to-do list. So I have to do this, it wasn't even like specific. I mean, they were goals, right? Things that you had to do, but I feel like it was more like these to-do lists. I didn't always have them presented to me, at least not in my world, that they
Mhm.
were they were goals. They were more like things to do, but of course they were goals, obviously. And let's see, Shelly has said something also in the chat. Now, empty nester or mostly retired need to work on some new goals. Life is less structured. I hear you. So we kind of go from being in these school very structured environments, and you go through this very, the structured, our days are structured, right? We're told, you be in math class from this, and you're in gym class from this time, then you're in social studies from this time, then you're in science from this time, then you're eating lunch, right? We get it all mapped out for us, but we don't really learn that, well, this is done for a reason. This is good for you. I don't ever remember saying, okay, here's my life planning class. So now what am I going to do every day for my life? And it's hard to see, up into, 40s, 50s and beyond when you're an 18-year-old, right? But let's face it, those days eventually hit us. So I think we really, need to stop and say, well, where am I going? And I feel like sometimes, are these the reasons that people are going off course, or maybe not making choices that are really going to benefit them because they hadn't learned how to set goals, how to be laser focused, how to make the most out of their days. And then I know what Shelley was saying, retiring. Well, hey, you've got a whole new phase of your life that now you have to plan out in order to maximize the time. Because let's face it, time is flying. Well, I know that that's probably subjective. I feel like it is. I can't believe it's June already. Like this year, I feel like has gone the quickest. But let me see. I'm going to share one other presentation that I have to mention and talk about some goals a little bit more. So can everyone see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. So, so why do we need goals, right? Setting goals, it helps us trigger new behaviors, right? When we're in school, we are learning to meet deadlines, right? Let's face it, right? Isn't that what we're learning to do? We're learning to sit, we're learning to take notes, we're learning to process information as our brains are growing. And then we are working on, how do you achieve different things at different points in time, right? So now that we're out of school, we need to come up with new behaviors that are going to help us feel satisfied and rewarded in life, and feel appreciated and successful. We need to build this. It doesn't just happen, right? Some people are born, maybe, maybe the prince and princesses of England, they're born into, positions of power and authority, but not all of us are that living that kind of a structured life. But the goals can help us to focus and be able to um, not let the nonsense um, distract us, right? Because it's so easy to get distracted by, right? I mean, there's just a zillion things, friends, relatives, the news, traffic, anything, right? So, oh, Victoria, oh, you're not retired yet. Understood, understood. You've, um, empty existence, but that's just you. Okay. Okay, so that's okay. So goal list, but hopefully we can help you find some. And then we want to promote a sense of self-mastery. And it's kind of like, what do we focus on? What goals should we have? Right. And you know what? And I think I want to do a talk on that. What goals should we have? I'm just writing a note, guys. I'm sorry about that because I was just thinking about that. And I love doing these talks because then it gives me other ideas, and I'm trying to um, make these pertinent and relevant as I come up with different things. So what goals should we have? Well, let's think about this. We need to think of ourselves as a full human being. Something that bothers me about going to the doctor. So we think about doctors, you've got all these different types of specialists. They're all focusing. You got a general doctor, you've got a heart doctor, you've got an ear, nose, and throat doctor, you've got foot doctors, right? They're all separate. But to me, we need to look at the whole body. We need to consider all the aspects of our lives. So we should be planning goals for our spiritual lives, right? What's going to help connect us to the earth, and the spiritualness around us? What about having our relationships with other people? How are we interacting with other people? What is that going to look like? What's our communication going to be with other people? What's the frequency? Who do we need to communicate with? Are we creating our own businesses? Do we need to network for businesses, right? We need to think about those things. What about our physical life, right? Our health. Are we going and getting exercise for our bodies, which can be walking? And my favorite exercise is actually walking. And forgive me as I keep touching my face, because I was outside and I feel like it's pretty humid out where I am here in New Jersey today. And I feel like I'm still getting like whatever's, all like the dust and stuff from people doing their lawns and everything, and the pollen. I feel like I'm still trying to get it off of me. And then um our our relationships, our romantic relationships, our love relationships. How are we going to handle those? We need to think about all these different areas of our lives. We want to think, we need goals in every area. We think, okay, well, I just need goals for what I'm going to do with my career, or just the goals to get me through the day. And while that is necessary, we really should be thinking about a whole picture. We need to think about all the different areas of our lives that need a goal. So we don't just come up with maybe 2, 3 goals. We should really have a goal or two for every area of our lives, and ways to track them to make sure that we are following them. So that's another reason why I was saying setting goals in a way that we can follow them. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more too, so that you're setting the goal, but then it's like, well, Staci, but how do I follow this? How do I make sure I do it? How do I not end up like New Year's resolutions that we never keep? A lot of people don't keep. I won't I don't want to assume that it's true for everybody, but a lot of people don't keep because we're kind of like, we're not really road mapping it as a way that we can really achieve it, and therefore we drop it, move on, and don't think about it anymore. um, so when we create goals, this allows us to take control of our lives. And I think that this is probably the most important part of goal creation and why you want to do it. You control you. You are in control of your life. If you do not control it, things will just end up randomly happening, and it may lead you to happiness or sadness. We don't really know, but most likely you'll just be going through the motions, and you won't be making anything happen, meaning nothing's going to change in your life. You can end up bored, depressed, not building relationships, not making anything of your future if you don't take control. Now, I've heard some people say, you know, um, actually some spiritual people that, you know, that God is in control, and that is true. God is in control, but we are in control of our lives. We have the power. We need to take that power and utilize it and make sure that we are then putting action into our daily lives in order to get the results that we want. So a lot of people are what we call kind of sleepwalking through life, right? They just do the same thing over and over. Nothing really changes. Maybe you go to work or you're working at home, da, 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 da. We get up, we eat, we dress ourselves, we bathe, and we're just kind of doing the same things. It's like you're just going through the motions, but you're not really um, getting the rewards that you could be getting out of life, right? And why are we doing this? Because you don't have any direction. Students graduate and they're not sure what they want to do with their lives. So they don't really do anything. And sometimes this leads to drugs or alcoholism or bad habits and patterns all around. And so I think that that's why when Victoria was talking about earlier, how in school you go from having those goals, you're writing your papers, you have tests, you have assignments, things to study for, right? We've got things to always be working towards, right? School sets us up for that, and then it drops when we're done, right? No more. And now we have to do it for ourselves. We have to figure out what are we going to now work towards now that we get to decide where we want our futures to go. But then sometimes, now here's where I think people run into trouble, and I know that I have. It's like, well, what do I do? And the truth is, we have to start trying things. When you don't know, there's a tendency for people to give up, and you end up in a job that you don't like and you can't figure out how to get out of it. And it's because you're not trying different things, right? And we don't always have a society that lets people try things too much. Sometimes there's not always a lot of opportunities, but I would suggest looking at sites like Volunteer Match, or even if you can volunteer, if there's any ways to or observe other people to try to see what they do and figure out if that's something that you would like or not. So that's what I feel is very important. We take control and put action in our day, helping us to achieve goals instead of just sleepwalking. So, and setting the goals is going to help us to get the maximum results that we can get, right? You want to set those big goals, right? Top performers, world class athletes, successful people set goals, right? You've got Michael Phelps, Kobe Bryant, Richard Branson, all these people. I know Kobe's not with us anymore, but when you set the goals, you have a vision, right? So I was going to talk about the vision board, but we need the goals is what is the driver behind that vision board. So I can show you how to set up the vision board, but you're not, but that vision isn't going to happen without the goals and then putting the action in to make those goals happen, which is basically turning your vision into a reality. Now, creating laser focus. Here's the problem of today. We are distracted constantly. If you are on social media, news, telephones, text messaging, people think you're supposed to be at their beck and call, whatever it is. But the truth is, and people think, well, students tend to think this. I know when I was teaching, I'd have students think, oh, well, I can multitask. You can multitask, But the problem is you are not going to retain the information. You're not going to be as effective as you could be if you're multitasking and thinking all over the place. I know personally, and I'm an experimenter. I don't like to just take other people's words for it. I like to try it and see for myself how it works for me. And I know when I am sitting and thinking about text messages, emails, um, and I'm trying to do a report or write a paper or anything else. I am totally distracted, and and finding an answer for it is really hard. So, but knowing that we need to set these things aside, and I think setting a schedule, we should be setting a schedule to for when we are going to respond to emails, for when we're going to respond to text messages. If people need us in emergency, they should give us a call. Um, and anything else that we need to do, it's like laying out your day in a way where you can be productive on one thing at a time. Now, some of you, those of you who've been to my other events, know that I'm currently working on a project management certification, and I'm trying to study for the exam. Once I study for the exam, I'll have my certificate. But it's hard to study for it. Why? I keep getting distracted by other things, and I really need to sit and look at it for different chunks of time. So um, teaching our teaching ourselves how to do that is something that is going to be important. The sooner you can learn it, the better, right? So creating that laser focus and only thinking about where we're trying to go is what's going to make us more productive and therefore more successful and more likely to achieve those goals. So let's say you set a goal to create a pastry business. Even though you don't know how you're going to make it happen, the very act of setting a goal gives you a focal point, and you can brainstorm for ideas, and think in terms of everything that you have to do for that one particular thing. And that's basically what I'm trying to do as I'm trying to study for my PMP certification exam. Um, Now, what else is goals creating do? Creating accountability, right? If you write those goals down, you are going to be more accountable. So sometimes we just say in the air, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds, or, oh, I want to go and do this or that. Okay, but are you going to do it? Probably not. Did you write it down? Did you make the goals? Did you write out exactly step by step how you're going to do that? Um, if you don't, then you're less likely to achieve it. I'm not saying you won't achieve it. Okay. You're less likely to achieve it. And if you find yourself not achieving when you just randomly say things, that's where trying to write it down and making a roadmap for yourself is helpful. Goals can also motivate you. I know it motivates me when I'm writing down goals and then breaking them down into smaller parts to make them more achievable, is much more motivating, as I know I have to be accountable for this. Like right now, I'm trying to achieve this PMP. And so pretty much everything that I'm doing is revolving around that. Um, you know, we want to achieve our highest potential. We have the potential. Every one of you has the potential to do anything that you set your mind to. And I know that's true. We just need to really set our minds towards it and then break those goals down into a roadmap that we can follow, which is basically, it's like directions on how you're going to do it. And we want you to live your best life, right? Create the goals to help you create your best life. Because when you think about it and you really think about what you want, once you try some things and figure out where you want yourself to go, don't be afraid to try different things. And if it doesn't work out, then you learn, then you have something to cross off your list, then you try something else, right? You want to keep doing that. All right, so now I want to talk about the roadmap. I call it's your SMART goals and your vision board. I call it a roadmap. So I promised you that I would show you how to set goals that you can follow and creating a vision board. So I have a question for y'all. Has anyone seen my video on creating a vision board? Because I will create one and show you how I did it, because I actually have done it at another event. But if anyone would like to see that, I'm happy to do it if you haven't seen that done yet. Did I lose everybody? James, did you see? Oh, in the chat. Oh, thank you. Feel free to unmute yourself. Shelly, did you say that so have you seen the vision board one? Have you seen it, or do you want me to show you how to create one?
You can show us. I
Okay.
think I've got the idea, but yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So what I like to do is create a vision board using SMART goals. So and this is just kind of setting ourselves up. We're trying to be as specific as possible. We're trying to make those goals meaningful, right? So if our goals are specific, right? If I just say I'm going to lose 20 pounds, well, that's nice. It's just not very specific. So what's wrong with that goal? I want to lose 20 pounds. What's wrong with that statement? And do you think I will achieve that or not if I just say it like that? What do you think? Any thoughts? Anybody? It's too vague. You're right, Shelley. It's too vague. So what's missing from that? Well, is it timely? Do I mention a date? No, there's no date. Okay. Is it measurable? Did I say, well, it's measurable, but but I don't know when to measure myself by. Is it achievable? Well, it should be achievable. Is it realistic? It could be realistic, but is it very specific? Well, it sounds specific, but it's probably could be more specific, right? So if I have a goal and I say, I want to lose 20 pounds, right? Okay. So I'm going to write a SMART goal / what I call a roadmap. So I like to kind of like make not just the goal, but I want to make the roadmap of how I'm going to get there, right? Okay, a goal is to be specific, right? So I want to lose 20 pounds. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down how am I going to do it, right? How am I going to do it? Because just in my mind, I can't follow this. If I just say I want to lose 20 pounds, that is not giving me a roadmap or a plan, aka roadmap equals plan, that I can follow. Can anyone else follow that? Is it just me? Or is this not really followable to just say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds? So what do you think? I don't think it's really followable. So let me tell you what I mean. So to lose the 20 pounds, I am going to, oh, we have something in the chat. A plan, right? We need that plan, AKA I tend to call it a roadmap because I kind of see, I see like the map. I'm a map person for whatever reason. So, right, the goal slash roadmap plan. So I am going to increase. So let's see. So now I'm going to create the SMART goals with this, right? So I'm going to increase my walking. So I have some problems with my ankles, so I'm a walker instead. I wish I could run, but if you run and you want to have a goal like this, go for it, whatever. Increase my walking steps by 3,000 a day for the next 3 months, right? Can I follow that? I think I can. Let's see. I will not, I will, how about this? I will only eat half a dessert 1 to 3 times a week for the next 3 months, right? So I'm talking about now my food intake, right? So let's see. So we'll just do continue. And so then what else I could say? I am not going to, let's see, I will not eat any fried foods, fried foods for the next 3 months. I will only drink water as my beverage every day for the next 3 months. I will track and weigh myself each day to monitor my progress. What do you think? Do I now have a plan? Did I like back up my goal with some kind of a plan? Now, does this plan have to stay, you know, solid and this is just my plan, I have to follow it? Well, I'm studying to be a project manager, so I follow agile techniques. And in the agile world, we need to be flexible with these goals and we need to track what we're doing and make modifications as necessary. So if this wasn't working based on when I go and monitor my progress, I would then need to reevaluate my plan to make sure that it's working for me. So I would definitely encourage, constantly reworking that plan and knowing that we need to do that. Oh, we have some things here in the chat. Oh, good plan. Thank you. Flexibility and modifications, because what I feel happens to, I know it happens to myself, I know others that it's happened to, it's just so easy to give up. It's so easy to be like, oh, I can't lose weight. Okay. And then we give up and then we eat whatever we want and we end up gaining more weight and we say, what on earth happened here? Right? Which is a problem. So what we want to do is not be so hard on ourselves. 2, know that we need a plan. We need a framework, goal, roadmap, whatever you want to call it, to make these things happen. And we need to know that we need to constantly be adjusting and reworking it to make it work for us and to make it achievable, right? Back on the SMART goals, what did that say? I'm going back over achievable, right? We need to work to make it achievable. If we're not achieving, we need to work on that plan to make sure we're getting ourselves on the right path. And does that make sense? Any questions so far? Am I clear, everybody? Because I really want to be clear. I think this is really important, and I know I'm trying to you know, there's so many different aspects of it. So if I'm not clear, please let me know. And you know, I take this back to, so I was a middle school teacher. My favorite thing to teach is actually mathematics. I love teaching pre-algebra and algebra particularly. And what I like to teach my students is you have to try, you have to have a plan, and then you have to try, and maybe it doesn't work out, and then you have to try again, right? And so that's what I see missing from so many people, is that they try, they fail, and then they don't try again. And that's where I think people are going off course. And I'd really, you know I've gone off course. It's happened to me. It's happened to, kind of happens to all of us at one point or another. But I think just remembering that we need to have that. Now, when we were talking about the vision board, I'm just going to stop my share for a second. I need to switch over to another PowerPoint real quick. Are there any questions while I'm doing that? Any thoughts? Anyone have any input? Anything that I'm missing that I could add? Feel free to come off mute. Okay. Okay, no questions so far. No worries. All right, so now we're going to flip over to creating the vision board. So I'm going to share my screen once again. Okay, can everyone see my screen okay? James, can you see my screen okay? Oh, good, Shelley. Thanks, Shelley. Okay, so when we're creating the vision, right, we're seeing these dreams or these goals, however you want to look at it, right? We can slice it up either way. It's basically the same thing, right? I'm going to show you an example right now of a vision board that I created here during another event. So what I did is I broke it down into year one goals, right? Basically your short-term goals that you want to achieve for the current year, some 5-year goals, some 10-year goals. And the thing to remember about your goals, as I was saying before, is they're fluid, right? You can always be changing them to adjust to your needs. But and one thing I wanted to say, if you're noticing, I'm using PowerPoint to create this. Now you can use whatever tool. You can even use Google Sheets, which is a free tool, and it's basically like the Google version of PowerPoint, if that's what you have access to, if you don't have Office on your computer. You could do it in Word. It doesn't matter. What I like about it is I can move goals around really easy. You can drag and drop, and I throw in pictures really easy. And then there's this slide sorter where you can look at all of them at once. You can print out the outline. And I just find it to be really versatile. I've been using PowerPoint for so long. And I just like those functionalities that it has. I feel like it's just so endless. But whatever, you can do it Excel if you wanted, whatever makes you happy. I'm just doing this here. So if anyone has any questions about that, feel free to ask. So when I go back up here, so I'm creating my vision my AKA my roadmap, and I'm integrating my goals within that because I feel like I want to see the vision. I'm looking at my future, right? I'm looking at what the components are. So what I have here, and I'm going to break this, I'll go into each individual one, but we can sit and we can look and we can see the images all together, and you can probably get a sense of what I'm looking to do right here, right? So this is like the vision slash your dreams slash your goals. We're looking at the pictures, we're making sure we have them in our mind so that we can stay laser focused and take action and take control of our lives. So when I go here to this slide, so these are my current year goals, right? So if we go back over here to the vision board, right? Current year goals is right here. So part of what I have is obtaining my project management certification. I was telling you guys about that. Improving my health by exercising more. This gal to me is just, she shows a lot of power and health in her body. And when I see that, I just think, man, I want to have that kind of, be able to, the ability to jump and have that power like she does. I'm really envious of her for doing that. Exploring careers in psychology. So here, this is like counseling, working with people. This is a goal of mine, which I'm actually probably going to put this more within my, I'm actually going to move this to more of a within a three-year time frame. So watch, I've got it right here in the current year. This isn't going to happen with my current year, but within 3 to 5 years, this is going to happen, right? Here's where my vision is being fluid, right? I'm making an adjustment, and part of this goal will come with obtaining my PhD, right? So I'm kind of going to put these together right here. And I'm going to work on this meetup group. Actually, I think I'm going to put this one over here, right? So here I'm shaping my vision. I'm shaping my future, right? It doesn't have to stay with just one. The goals don't have to remain, but I need to have them so that I can be working on them. So if I come back here, take additional statistics, because part of what I want to do is involved with doing research on behaviors. I love to analyze people. That's something that actually doing these various chats and events is helping me to realize that more. So I'm really excited about it. So I appreciate everybody coming to my events and listening to what I have to say. It means a lot to me. Right. But now I'll need to make some adjustments here because I just moved around my images. But let's see. Now here's coming back to my plan or roadmap. Forgive me, as I just tend to use the roadmap a lot, right? So if I'm now taking, I have 4 goals right here. And now I'm going to break them down further into that roadmap on each individual slide, right? Can change them at any time, adjust it, uh, make it work for me, color code it, right? Whatever makes sense. This one I've just got blank. I haven't done any other kind of color coding yet. I need to work on that, right? So basically the question we're asking ourselves is, so how are we going to do this? How am I achieving this one goal? How, right? That key word is how, meaning I need to put that plan in place to make it happen. So putting together a study plan, which is something that I actually have done somewhat. I still need to work on it more. I can add that here. And then, so part of the plan is looking at these 2 study guides I have and doing the test prep, right? So, so I'm going to put a note to myself, work on adding more detail here to make sure I achieve this goal, right? Because that's the whole point. Now, if I come here, improve my health by exercising. Now I did a little bit of a plan there when I was talking about the goal of losing 20 pounds, which I like. I can enter that. I can move that over here to make it part of my vision, my roadmap, right? Ensure I'm walking 10,000 steps a day. Give myself 2 weeks to increase my steps by 1,000 a day. Eat healthy to give me more energy. Now, right here, this isn't as specific enough. Be more specific. On how I will eat healthy by laying out a specific meal plan, right? Meal plan. So I can say, what will I eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for each day of the week, for the upcoming week, right? And then drink more water. Well, anybody can say that, but I'm going to say this: drink only water, right? No soda or juice. And I'll say this: I do need my coffee in the morning. So maybe I'll just have like just 1 cup of coffee, not too much sugar in there. Okay. Do an aerobic daily workout to a YouTube video. Okay. Put the link to the video here and set how long it is, right? So I'm getting really specific. What do you guys think? Do I have a plan? Do I have something I can follow to where my head's going to know what steps I'm taking? What do you think? Does that make sense? Does anybody have any goals that I can help you write, or anything that you're looking to having trouble to achieve that I can help with? All right. Well, we're coming towards the end of the time. So I hope that this at least gives you an idea on how to set your goals and how to break them down into a manageable plan to ensure that you're going to be able to achieve them. And I hope that you found this helpful. If you have any other feedback for me, feel free to email me through Meetup or coachstaciann@yahoo.com. You can also reach me. But as of now, I will let you all go and digest this. If you want to see anything else related to this, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I wish you a wonderful week, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a great night.